You get used to it. It was the same way at first. I'll cut them off in a hot minute and say something. So your meeting's in order.
All right, I will call the meeting to order at 3 o'clock. And I believe we do have a quorum.
Yes.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so our first order of business is discussion and possible action regarding the approval of the July 17, 2019 meeting minutes. Has everyone reviewed the minutes? Have a motion?
I motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. All right. Item number 2, discussion and possible action regarding identifying budget needs. So, open for discussion.
Has anyone met with any of the elected officials in their districts just to see what they're doing?
I have
Has
not.
anybody done that?
I have, and I.
May I speak, Chairman? I spoke to the 3 different cities, and we're looking at about $75,000, except for Bullhead City is $150,000, I think.
They had about 200. They mentioned at one of the-
So
yeah.
they've got some serious money that they're throwing at this. I think it's a serious issue, and so we can go from there. We're not going to know what the budget would need until we start figuring out what it's going to cost for some of these things, but I'll let you go forward.
I did speak with the mayor, vice mayor, and city manager of Lake Havasu City, and they are kind of a hop, skip, and a jump ahead of us. They have already formed committees and subcommittees in the community. They have contacted most of the civic organizations, also churches, school, and business leaders in the community. They've set aside $25,000 to start for the Census 2020. They invited me to also sit on their committee because since they've already done that. So they're kind of a little bit ahead of us. And I thought maybe we should, all of us, talk to the community people to see where they are so we're not asking for budget items that would duplicate what's happening in our communities. So Lake Havasu has already talked about printed materials and distributing those, and I've spoke to several of our civic organizations and clubs who will invite me back to speak once we have the format to introduce and let them know what's going on. So my contention would be maybe to just do some legwork, each of us first, so we're not asking for money for things that are going to be already committed by the cities. And I did hear Bullhead was like 200,000.
Yeah, quite a bit.
And Havasu did 25 to start and see where we're at, but they have a lot of community support there. A lot of the organizations and businesses are behind this and have offered up a lot of help. Also, the radio station will do public service announcements at no charge, so that's another avenue we can check also. I just think we should maybe wait and do some legwork and maybe revisit it. In the meantime, maybe someone can get together with the amounts that they think we might need, and then we can check with our districts to see if that would be a duplication first. It's just a suggestion.
Sounds like a good idea to me. I know with Kingman, they aren't meeting until the first week of September. Okay. So
it's interesting. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I've been invited to that as well. I may be out of town at a conference, but I will send a representative to bring information.
So it's interesting that they had discussed, I think I was at the Tri-City Council, a couple other meetings that I had been to, and they were talking $75,000 for Havasu, but they decided on $25,000 to start. So they're going to do that, and I think that's probably a good idea.
Right. think so, too.
Right.
I would agree.
Starting low.
Yeah. Well, and I think we can come back, if we find there are items, like she said, that we need, then, have a specific need and ask for that. Don't just ask for a bulk amount of money and go, oh, we've got this, and just spend it. Let's have a need and
Not duplicate.
not duplicate efforts. I think that's a great idea. Any other comments?
I think it sounds good. I would have to agree.
Okay.
Maybe when we meet next time, each of us would have a list of, some of the more documented people or organizations that we've spoke to in the reaction, and maybe what they've also asked us to put forth.
Okay, yeah. And I had written down just T-shirts, which I'm talking just for like committee people or specific people, not like T-shirts to give out to the community. Maybe a few car signs and some posters. Those were some things that I had identified. But again, I agree with let's don't duplicate efforts, so.
One thing that I was going to mention was getting it out on Facebook and stuff like that, because that's kind of a free service. And I notice the city of Kingman is already running ads and stuff like that. So I didn't know if that was something kind of under the budget. You can run ads later on, but now get that started up somehow
Right.
as a free service, so that we were kind of ahead of the game there.
Okay. Do we have anybody adept at Facebook?
I could do it.
That's not one of my strong points. So, yeah, if you would be able to do that, that would be great.
Yeah, I could get
Okay.
that set up.
All right. Jenny, do we need to do anything official as far as motions? That was pretty much just discussion, wasn't it? And bring back information later?
You can always continue the item to the next meeting.
Okay. All right.
Do we need to do anything with me setting up the Facebook, or is that just? Okay.
Okay.
You can just then continue the items.
All right. So I would continue that to the next agenda. So motion to continue that to the next agenda. And then a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, item number 3, discussion and possible action regarding creation of possible subcommittees. Open for discussion.
Again, I have contacted several civic organizations and clubs in Lake Havasu City, and all of them are very forthcoming to offer, making up a subcommittee within their club, like Rotary and Kiwanis and so on. They're saying, they would have a representative and maybe come together for that. So Havasu, like I said, has already started that. So they're forming now.
Okay.
The subcommittees, would you want to make the subcommittees more as one person's going to go concentrate on a certain type of club? I mean, some of them are going to go to churches, some of them are going to go to the Kiwanis clubs, or are you going to have a subcommittee for the advertising or the T-shirts, or what kind of subcommittees do you think? I mean, that was when I had mentioned that to put on the agenda, that's where I was hoping that we can, at least at this point, figure out the specific subcommittees that you think are going to be necessary to get the word out.
And I was kind of thinking maybe subcommittees per city, and then in each city we could do kind of what you've already done, is go out, because you know the people in your city, and talk to those local organizations, and then maybe break that down into even further subcommittees, like here are your civic groups, here are your churches, here are your, maybe tribal things or other things like that. That's kind of the way I envisioned it. I don't know. I'm sure open to discussion, though. So
That sounds good.
that just seemed to make sense in my brain. So.
That's kind of what it seemed like to me that they were pushing for in the training manual as well, the structure of that.
Okay. All right. So, and then I had also identified on here veterans, Native Americans, and the foster care system. That's good. So I know that was one of the things that they said that was a very undercounted, the small children were one of the undercounted areas, so we probably need to concentrate on that. So does that sound good that we would just create a subcommittee in each of the major cities? And
I agree, but I know Nicole brought up an issue about like the outlining areas, and then she also went so far as looking at the areas that the actual census said they had challenges. Can you maybe explain more of what you found?
Yeah, I pulled, in regards to the tract information, I was kind of going to touch on it in that when we got to that agenda item, in regards to the numbers and such.
Okay.
Kind of more under that. But I also did pull some information in comparison of the cities, which I could share that with you guys, in regards to increase and, the percent of individuals under 5 years of age. So you could kind of focus on those areas in regards to maybe reaching out to the school boards and such. To create those, I think, is going to be a huge one. And in the areas of people over 65 and their reporting or lack of, and the internet. So I think those are going to be, to me, the main areas that we also want to focus on to get the word out to those communities.
Yeah, senior centers and school boards, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then would we want to just target, maybe find representatives in, like you said, some of the smaller communities? I mean, we've got Peach Springs, Hackberry,
Colorado City.
Colorado City. All of those, I mean, even, we talk about the 4 major towns, but, we have, said Chloride, Dolan Springs, Peach Springs, Hackberry, Valentine, smaller areas like that. Do we know people in those areas to contact even? Do you know those people?
We have chambers. We have the post office. Meadview has a great community organization up there.
Meadview, yes.
I could, if you'd like me to, try to brief some of the areas and the organizations and those outlining areas for you, so the board has something to go off of. Being that as the assessor, I have to go to all those areas.
Right.
I have a lot of contacts and people that I can help you with. So if you'd like me to put that together, I can.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, we've got the obvious, the chambers and school districts and things like that, but yeah, we need to get deeper into it.
I think another good avenue would be neighborhood watch programs, which you could contact the local police. They should have all those set up. They hold meetings and such and can get the word out via email, which is another free service. So,
Awesome. Okay. All right. So do we need a motion on that to create the subcommittees, or that's, again, just, okay. All right. Any further discussion? Is that it? Well, yeah, Jeannie, if you would bring that information back, I think that would be highly valuable.
Thanks for the homework.
All right. Item number 4, discussion and possible action regarding identifying potential scams and educating citizens.
I wrote down a few just in kind of research some, the obvious: phone, email, in person, and even via mail. I think with the elderly community, they'll probably really try to target them. So I think we need to get the word out that they'll never ask for the social security number, ever. That's not a part of the census. Your banking info or any monetary contributions. That's not something that we would look to them for. Getting that word out, I don't know how, but those are some of the things that I found.
Yeah, again, I think that would be probably all avenues, especially with, like I said, the elderly. A lot of them don't use computers, so we think Facebook, everybody always wants to go to Facebook. I get calls every day of people that, I don't have a computer. Can you tell me a phone number to such and such? So we need to do a lot of posters. I think, maybe if we could put them in the water bills or utility bills, if anybody would, work with us as far as those things go. Meals on Wheels, maybe even, to some of those outlying areas, if we can get them into, and hanging them up in the government offices where people are coming to get services and that.
Sorry, we can actually help with the Meals on Wheels program. The health department can, so
Okay, great.
just let us know what we can do there.
Okay.
Should that be, Chairman, I really like what she had to say, and I think it's very important, and I don't want to, like you said, double up on what the city's message is. We don't know what the city's message is until we go to some of their meetings, I guess. But the fact that no social security number, no banking info, no donations, maybe that should be one of the messages we should really hit home if they aren't doing it elsewhere, or even just part of it, because that's what I'm afraid of. I think people are afraid, especially out here, out in the outlining areas. Nobody wants anybody to have any information. Also, what was the other thing that people are afraid of? They will never share this information.
Right.
For 72 years. So, I don't know. I think that should be very important as to the message, as we're putting that message out. Those are the issues there.
And I thought it was really huge, too, that he said they are the one organization that's never been hacked.
Another one.
I thought that was pretty impressive. I hope I didn't jinx it. So, yeah, how do we do that? Do we want to just create a flyer poster? I mean, I can do something like that.
So number 6 probably would cover that. Part of our advertising and marketing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And also checking back with the people that are already on the ground with that to see what they've done and what their message is, and maybe we can commingle with them on that.
I mean, is everyone here kind of involved in their own cities as well? Getting there. You can come with me wherever I go. All right. So, okay, I think we identified some great things. Thank you for those ideas, and thank you for Health Department.
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll move on to item number 5. Okay. Discussion and possible action regarding identifying tracks for Mojave County.
Look at Nicole did some research on that, so she'll be able to share with you.
I just kind of went under the district that I was appointed to, as District 1, and I went on and pulled all the tracks. So from what I thought we were looking to do is to identify maybe the highest low response rating, so we could go after those. So I went on to that Rome website that he kind of touched on briefly, and I pulled each of the tracks, and I exported that information to Excel and kind of plucked and pulled the information that I thought we would need. And it was kind of interesting. I kind of misspoke at lunch, but my highest low response district is Colorado City in the Strip area, which it's pretty big. It is, let's see, it's this whole area. I don't know if I can pass it around. But it's not very populated, but it's a large area. And obviously we know that I would think you guys would know that there's some issues up there with, in the past more so, that people don't want information reported. The only thing I don't know for sure what year this information is pulled from off of that Rome website. I believe it's from 2018, but don't quote me on that. I would have to reach out to them and ask. So I think this would be something good that each district do to identify what areas that you want to really hone in on. And Kingman was actually one of the high. City of Kingman itself was a high low response rate as well, surprisingly.
Really?
It was at 26%. In Colorado City, it was at 26.1. In Colorado City, it was 26.2.
Wow.
And then in the City of Kingman, I pulled also 2 specific areas that had a high population of 5 years and under. So that way we can really focus on the schools located within that tract to try to get the word out to the kids. Because if you get it out to them, they're going to go home and say, Mom and Dad, we need to get this done, you know.
But even daycares. I mean,
Yeah, daycares as well. So I'll pass this around so you guys can see, and if anybody would need help doing that, I can help you with that. If you go onto the website, it shows you kind of the higher and the lower response rates, so you could see within our county just on the map here, this no response area, that's Peach Springs, that's the reservation. So we don't really have any numbers for them. But I can pass this around so you guys can kind of see what I did.
Okay. Okay.
Just so you know, the First Things First La Paz Mojave Council works, or actually, a friend of mine is actually the Crit Wallapai tribe representative, and she may be able to help us with some inroads into the Wallapai tribe. So if that's of interest to you, let me know, and I can certainly work with her on that.
That's huge, though, not calculated. No response. That's a lot.
Right.
Wow.
I would like to reach out to these guys as well, because some of the readings that I did, I don't know if we physically can go into the tribe. I think they have to create their own subcommittee to try to generate. I don't know if it's reported. I don't know how that works for sure.
Maybe we need to contact them in Phoenix and
so.
ask us what they're doing with their reservations. Chairman, that might be something that, you know, you might want to follow through with, because I don't know how they're normally reaching out to the reservations. Are they even counting them?
All right, I will see who we can contact out there. I do know someone who's worked in the school district out there at least, so.
Well, I'd contact the Census
the actual-
2020.
Oh, the Census 2020.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, great. Okay,
Is that the Census 2020 people?
just going to take it.
Yeah, the gentleman that was here.
Can I hold this for a second? I'll just take a picture of it, it'll be easier. All right, that way we can move along. So my thought on that was kind of what we were speaking about, like kind of by precinct, the tracks would be by precinct, and then we would kind of gather our own information and bring it back from there. How long did it take you to do all of that?
Not that long.
Not that long?
No,
Okay.
but I just
Is it something that we can figure out?
Yeah.
I can figure out.
yeah, and I could like, I don't know, can I set up like a separate training type thing to show them how to do it, Jenny?
I'm sorry.
Can we set up like a training so I can show them how to pull the tracks and like export the information and that stuff so they can do just as I had done?
Yeah, we can do it that way, or we can just make it an item at the next meeting, you know, do it,
Okay.
set up on the computer and you can show them.
Okay.
Okay. All right, yeah, because I was just thinking it'd be nice if we would keep it consistent, you know, if each different precinct had the same reports to look at, so we're comparing apples to apples. So, all right. Okay.
Chairman,
so
you keep saying precinct. Is it precinct or district? I understand.
District is probably
It's all right.
the
I
correct
understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
and precinct is a good way to go within the districts, you know, but it's each district.
Yeah,
that you
we're
would-
appointed by
Okay.
district, so yeah, district would be the correct
Okay.
word. I will change that on here, so I. Does it? It does say districts with voting precincts, yes. Well,
Chairman?
district seems to make sense to me.
Yeah,
Yes.
the precincts are within the district, so
Okay.
there'd be multiple precincts within a district.
Okay,
And if
All right.
if you want to see those, there is if you go to the election website, they have maps for those.
okay. Okay, great. Okay, any further discussion on that? Okay, moving right along to item number 6. Discussion and possible action regarding the creation of a slogan and/or hashtag for the committee, staying within the guidelines of the Census Bureau. Okay, who has slogan ideas?
I did have a question about that. So didn't they say the federal government had like the main slogan for the Census 2020 in our training, didn't they have? And can't we replicate that and just say Mojave County then? So we
Yeah,
wouldn't have to create our own, just use the federal.
What I found was Shape Your Future, Start Here, and then they had the Census 2020. Have you seen anything different?
No. Oh, yeah, there was something else that they had, something about counting.
That was the one that I saw and everything in regards to even that information that I had sent out with the fonts and everything. That was the slogan that they used on everything.
Yeah.
But when she was here, she said that we could make up our own in addition to that to make it like localized.
Yeah.
I just thought if the federal government was going to do something like on television or something, and then we had our own, they could, kind of connect and know that we are all part of that. Thank you.
And I agree. I think that we should go along with that. I was looking more at like some hashtags or something to kind of throw out there. And so the two very simple that I came up with, and I don't know, was either going with I count or count me.
I like I count, yeah.
But I think I count is kind of draws it in a little more personal. Hey, look at me, I count, and oh, that's so just a very simple hashtag, but use the census slogan, like you said, on all of our flyers and anything. Yes, I think we definitely need to use that branding and stay consistent with that because, again, it gives more credibility to it. But having that little hashtag out there, I think, is also helpful, so, especially with the younger generation. So. All right. So do we need to make a motion on that to accept that as, okay. So do I have a motion?
I make a motion to accept the federal slogan for most of our advertising and along with hashtag I count.
Okay. A second?
I second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right, and then our final item for the day, number 7, discussion and possible action regarding rotation of location, day and time of meetings.
I understand that keeping them at this location is very important so you can record and all of that. I'm just wondering if there was any chance that we could change maybe the time of day a couple times so it's not always 3 p.m. Maybe we could do a morning or even a lunchtime just to kind of change it up so it's not always at the end of the day. Anybody have an input?
I'm looking for guidance.
Madam Chair, members, as long as it's advertised appropriately, like when the agendas go out, then the time can be adjusted.
Okay.
Yeah, I did notice on the bylaws it said, the third Wednesday at 3 p.m. unless otherwise set forth by the chair.
Right, so as long as that's determined prior to the agenda going out, that way the agenda has the correct information on it.
Change it up a little bit so it's not always.
And I would agree. I think as long as it's here and it's able to be recorded, and then the subcommittees obviously can be held in your locations so people don't have to travel for those. But I do think the main meeting, they prefer them to be here so it can be out to the rest of the public. So.
Also, we just have to double check that the room is available at the time you guys are looking at, which is not a problem, but we'd have to make sure. I wouldn't want to book you guys over somebody else, so.
Sure.
Right, Chairman. I know that Tim did tell me that this time was good. This was a while back because they had already had it scheduled for something else that they don't use, and so that he knew for sure that this time was good. So other times we might have to. And then Karen's not here, but I do know that they have a meeting the same Wednesday of the month at lunchtime, and she gets here after that meeting. So it worked out beautiful for her because of that timing. So that's the only thing I'd like you to keep in mind when you go to change it, that possibly the morning and then the afternoon would be good, but the lunchtime's probably
Maybe we
not.
could look at morning for the next Wednesday or a couple out just to try to see.
The next Wednesday, so the one in September, I can already tell you there's something already planned in the morning that day. So we couldn't do it on that day. But
Okay.
moving forward, it's usually pretty open. It's just that I know something was reserved, so I would not be able to do it that day, but
Okay, can I suggest maybe for the next one, let's keep it at the regularly scheduled time. Karen's already aware of that and seeing she's not here, and then maybe we could discuss going for a morning one for our meeting.
If we
Maybe
could
we
look
can
at
get a
that.
calendar for the next meeting, and then we can take a look at it then.
Okay,
Okay, great.
so do I have a motion on that? Or do I need one? If we're just going to keep it the same, I don't need to do anything, correct? Okay. Okay, great. Okay, so, all right. I believe that leaves us with only one more motion. Motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn. Do we have to do that?
We do have to do that. Okay. Second?
I second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you all for being here today.